Hello, I am Daniel Arnold, CEO of Opcode Studios, and with me here is Patrick Dotzi. We are in Budapest, although I'm an American and Patrick is Hungarian. I go back and forth between America and Hungary, usually about every 6 months, and Patrick is most of the time here. At Opcode Studios here, I do most of the business work, so I handle our Steam pages and Patreon pages and our marketing. I do have a background in marketing. I've spent 6 years in New York running an ad agency. For our games, I do most of the creative work. So that's character creation, modeling, animation. I do the work on the sounds. I don't have any creative skills, so I can't create music, but I have a very good ear for audio. So I put all of our sound work and music work together. For our first game, Hui, I've done all of the characters. So when you see the game, all of the animations, those are all hand animated.
Hi, I'm Patrick Dotzi. I'm also an owner in the company and I'm a game developer. I do most of the programming for the game. I do the architecture work and also I'm creating the AI for both the enemies and the hero.
Back here is our game studio. It's quite comfortable and we have everything we need to make games. So we're very excited about this. All my life, I've wanted to be an indie game studio. I never wanted to join a AAA game studio. I always wanted to be independent. And now with Patrick here, we finally have that opportunity. And so we're excited to go.
Ever since I was a child, I loved playing games. I definitely shouldn't have been playing, and I always imagined what it would be like to be on the other end, like creating those awesome games. And it always felt so unreachable. But about a year ago, Daniel and I, we decided, why not just do it? And here we are. It's been the best year of my life, the past year, creating our first game ever. And it's just an amazing journey so far. And I can't wait to show you what we've done.
Why did we start Opcode Studios at this time? I think this is the best time to be an indie developer. We've all watched nearly 100 well-known studios fail in the past 5 years.
And it's such a shame because it's not just by chance that you know those names of the companies. They did produce great games.
And we could go on and on about why all these game studios have failed. I think everybody here knows what the reasons are, and most of them are cultural, and most of them are political, and we just want to make awesome, fun games. The corporate gaming world has forgotten that. Their inability to serve their market is our opportunity. And now that we have AI, and I don't mean AI-generated slop, I mean our ability to solve so many technical problems, generate voices, help in the creation of animations, which are still some of the most expensive things that you can do. That gives us so much more power that we've never had.
Whenever you don't want to replace yourself by the AI, but to enhance yourself, it's working.
And I think AAA is going to continue to shrink. I think AAA got too big. It doesn't have the reach that it used to. I think the future belongs to small teams with smaller budgets making highly targeted experiences that serve niche audiences. When I say niche, I mean audience sizes that are between 50,000 to 500,000. The more niche you get, the more creative and the more experimental you can get. Hit that market to where practically everyone who plays your game is going to love it because it's something that they've been looking for and no one else has been able to provide. But the audiences are well large enough in order to sustain a studio.
Yeah, and that strategy puts off so much expectations from your shoulders. Like, you don't have to make like tens or hundreds of millions of dollars just to survive. You are free to create like real art. You are free to create what you really want to do, and there will be an audience for you if the execution is right.
And so our values here at Opcode Studios we are based, we are no bullshit. We're all about the fun and enjoyment of gaming. We're certainly not going to be political in either direction. And that's what it means to be based. It doesn't mean, oh, we're going to push our right-wing values on everyone. That's not what it means. It means we're not going to push any kind of political values onto someone. If we're making a game from a certain era or a certain period, it's going to have the culture from that period. We're not going to put modern day isms from either political spectrum into that game.
I was born in 97. I'm 28 now. Well, the first game I remember playing was Wolfenstein and then Doom. Yeah.
Very cool.
So, right. Thanks to my dad. Following that, I have great memories of Doom 3. It was scary as hell for me back when I was a kid. The first console I actually got was a PlayStation 1. And I loved it. Man, Metal Gear Solid was hell of a game. I still have nightmares about it because, well, I was, like 10 years old, less than 10 years old. And that game is scary. My younger years were mostly about Gran Turismo, the game I was playing with my dad. We both loved playing that game and just cars in general. And then the PlayStation 2 era came. And man, Need for Speed, Most Wanted, Need for Speed Underground 2, Carbon, they were amazing. Like, so amazing. And shame on EA for messing it up.
Even for me, Need for Speed Special Edition, that was the one for PC.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow, that was the top of the top for that time.
Right. The first ever Need for Speed for me was Hot Pursuit 2.
Yeah.
It's just perfection.
I remember that
with the stupid cops. And then Hitman, of course. And after that, my elementary school years were mostly about GTA, Vice City, and San Andreas. And I'm still a little bit ashamed to admit, but one of my summer has been spent entirely on one of the original role-playing servers for GTA San Andreas, and I was so invested in that server. It's of course no more, so it's down, but it was an amazing summer. My later years in elementary school playing games I shouldn't. It was Dead Space for me, the original horror game, and then Prototype. It's not too well known, but it's still one of my favorite games. You could just pick up people and cars and go mayhem.
So what culture do you feel like you belong to in the gaming space?
I have more than 1,500 hours in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And second to that is Counter-Strike 1.6. And yeah, I'm just, I really love competing. I love competitive games. And the OG servers, of course, all of them were official, for sure.
So Nintendo came out when I was 5 years old. I can still remember being at a Walmart in North Carolina and looking up at that machine and holding the controller in my little 5-year-old hands. And it was such a magical experience. And then as I grew up, I had a Super Nintendo and I had a Sega Genesis. And I played all the typical games that everyone else played. Sonic and Super Mario and Castlevania. I have 2 older brothers, and I got a lot of exposure into older things from them as well. Going into my teenage years, it was the 90s. And 1992, I got my first computer. It was an IBM Aptiva 535 486 DX2 66 megahertz. I didn't realize at the time what an iconic computer that was going to be. I had the desktop version of it, and I still love that machine. As soon as I got a computer, I was done with consoles. I went heavy into PC gaming. It's been that way ever since. I haven't owned a console since I was 14. So I don't really have any of the console experience. Fortunately, Patrick over here does. But if you want to think about what gaming culture I come from, it would be PC gaming from the mid to the late 90s and going a little bit into the 2000s. Early on, my favorite games were PC CD-ROM enhanced version of SimCity, Civilization 2 and 3. Civilization 3 is still my favorite. When it comes to first-person shooters, of course, I played Doom 2 and Unreal and Quake 3 Arena. But I had a unique experience and one that I didn't fully appreciate until about 10 years later. But around 1996, I was in college. I got into a game called Star Siege Tribes. If you don't know, then you don't know. But if you do, you do. This is the game that introduced mechanics like skiing, the earliest first-person shooter to actually truly go into the third dimension of exploration. But I didn't just play first-person shooters. Albion is one of my favorite, all-time favorite RPGs. Also, Neverwinter Nights. So my mind is back in a time when games were very creative, a lot of exploration going on, and the emphasis on uniqueness in gaming. AAA in my time meant team sizes of 5, 10, 20. If it was really huge, it would be a 50-person team. And so many amazing games were made with such fewer people, far less budgets than are made today, even though the technology has gone so much farther than back in those days. And I'm talking the late 90s and the early 2000s. AAA used to mean what we now call small to medium-sized teams. So we have all of the historical evidence we need to know that you can do AAA titles with a small team. The difference now is that the technology has come so far along, and if you actually focus on using it properly, then small to medium-sized teams can make AAA titles. We'll just call them AA, since AAA means of something a bit different than it used to, and that's where we want to fit. So that's us. We are Opcode Studios, and we are excited to make some great games for our players. Cheers.
Cheers.
That was pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing.
Good job. We should have started off with vodka.
Yes, we should have.